Hi, everybody. This is Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. It's Thursday, October 9th, 2025. This is an update for the All Hazards Consortium, the sensitive information sharing environment where we share information across platforms from private sector organizations to private sector liaisons within state emergency operations centers and a lot of folks in between. Well, Jerry is expected to be near the northern Leeward Islands this evening and tonight. I'm talking about Tropical Storm Jerry. It looks kind of lethargic on the satellite imagery, and we have a lot of things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Jerry, which is right here down in the Atlantic, just coming right up to the Leeward Islands here. We're also going to talk about a developing coastal storm that's going to happen here during the day tomorrow off the southeast coast of the United States. And we're seeing moisture coming up from Priscilla into the southwest, and that's causing flood watches and some high anxiety tonight when it comes to flash flooding, particularly if people are thinking about hiking in certain areas. If you're thinking about that, make sure you stay up on the latest weather information because flash floods could happen really quickly. Let's get to it, and we'll start with Jerry. Well, here's the 1-minute satellite imagery from NOAA, and this is combining also the Global Lightning Mapper, GLM, so we can see where the lightning flashes are, and they are happening around some of the areas of the biggest thunderstorms for sure, but Jerry is not very well. It doesn't have its act together. That's all I can say about that. The center of Jerry is less than 100 miles from the northern Leeward Islands, which is often close enough to experience strong winds, but there's a satellite out there called ASCAT, and 53rd Weather Squadron flying through there has showed the strongest winds are confined to a region east of the center of Jerry. You can see the lightning happening, but that is not where the center of the storm is. The center is up in here. As a matter of fact, the center is pretty much totally exposed right here. These are thunderstorms to the east and to the southeast of the center. Winds are actually quite light on the western side. Look at this. Sunny right now in Guadalupe and Dominica. Just some high, thin clouds, and that's outflow from Tropical Storm Jerry. Even down here to the south, to Martinique, no real problems. Some thunderstorms well offshore. And then right down here, St. Lucia. Not really impacted that much. There are a few thunderstorms off the coast there. This is the 1-minute satellite imagery, so it's a very confined sector of this particular segment. We can identify 2 high-resolution sectors to monitor, and one of these is on Tropical Storm Jerry. Another one is on developing Tropical Storm Raymond in the Pacific. We'll get to him a little bit later. Okay, so here are the statistics so far as of 5 o'clock p.m. from the National Hurricane Center. Jerry is expected to be near the northern Leeward Islands this evening and tonight, where a tropical storm warning has been issued for portions of the northern Leeward Islands. I'll go over that right now. Tropical storm warning is in effect for Barbuda and Anguilla, for St. Bartholomew and St. Martin, both sides of St. Martin, and Guadalupe and the adjacent islands. So yes, you're under a tropical storm warning here in Guadalupe. Just north here, this is St. John's. And just to the north of that, we have Anguilla. And so tropical storm warnings are in effect for those islands right there. Tropical storm watches are in effect for Antigua, St. Kitts, Nevis, and Montserrat, and also Saba and St. Eustatius. So this is what it looks like. It's not very organized, as I said. The center, 17.3 north, 60.6 west. Maximum sustained winds, 65 miles per hour. It's about 10 miles per hour, 9 miles per hour to a hurricane. Minimum central pressure, 1,001 millibars. That's not very impressive. And it's moving to the west-northwest at 18 miles per hour. It's been kind of jogging back and forth in different areas because the center has been kind of hard to find. But generally speaking, it looks like it's taking that northward turn. There's now a west-northwest component into this system. Let's take a look at the forecast and what it looks like from the National Hurricane Center from the 5 o'clock advisory this evening. Remaining a tropical storm until about 48 hours out from now, where it will be well away from the islands. I'll show you that on GeoCollaborate, where 48 hours is from now. So it's expected to maintain 65 mile per hour winds, slightly increase at about 5 o'clock Saturday morning. To tropical storm force just under hurricane, and then remaining a Category 1 storm out in the Atlantic before it turns. Doesn't impact Bermuda. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on Jerry once it passes by the islands here. This is the enhanced satellite imagery and what it looks like. Here we go. There's Guadeloupe right here, the Butterfly Island. And this is the center of the storm right in here. So that's the thunderstorm activity. You can see it's moving this way. So we do expect some tropical storm winds to reach the tropical storm warning areas. So Barbuda and Anguilla, that's right up here. And then just to the south, St. John's and also Guadeloupe. And so these winds will probably be around 40 to 45 mile per hour winds, maybe gusting up to 50 to 55 miles per hour. But the majority of these winds should stay offshore. We'll be watching it very closely. There are some thunderstorms happening over Puerto Rico. There are some local flood statements there happening out of this thunderstorm. And then also in Hispaniola, Dominican Republic, there's some pretty heavy thunderstorms developing too along the coastline. But as I go further to the north, you can see moisture headed to the north. And believe it or not, some of this moisture, when Jerry gets up into this area tomorrow into Saturday, is going to feed into that coastal storm that's expected to develop off the southeast coast. And let's take a look at that right now. Okay, here we are in the southeast United States. Here is Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. Beautiful day. Look at this, all the way from Maine out to Chicago and Iowa in through Missouri and Arkansas, Kansas, Oklahoma. Beautiful weather there just along the coast and in parts of Florida. We have some showers and some thunderstorms down towards Hollywood, headed down towards Miami, the Palm Beach coast. Right now we have clear skies. That is not going to last because, as we've been talking about the last couple of days, this frontal system is going to be hanging back here, and that is going to be the focus of an area of low pressure that's expected to develop in this area off the Florida coast. We do have what's called a short wave, which is coming down. It's not much moisture with it, but it's some spin in the atmosphere that's going to come down here and energize this low pressure system that's developing. We're not looking at an incredibly intense low pressure that'll be moving up the coast, but that associated with a strong high pressure to the north is causing a tightening pressure gradient that's going to make winds blow and howl from southern New England all the way down to northern Florida. And that's going to cause quite a bit of beach erosion. And unfortunately, on the Outer Banks of North Carolina, well, we'll probably see more houses falling into the ocean because of the heavy wave action and high tides, not just because of the winds, but also because of the astronomical high tides that have been around all week. And look at these advisories that have been issued. Even along the Gulf, we have small craft advisories. Small craft are encouraged to remain in port. It's going to be too rough for small craft. But look over here. Not only do we have heavy thunderstorms in South Florida right now, but we also have not just small craft advisories, but we also have rip current statements. We also have coastal flood advisories in effect. We have wind advisories in effect as this low pressure system will be developing off the coastline tomorrow. Flood warning in effect in some areas in Florida from heavy rain that has been falling, and coastal flood warnings in effect as well up and down the coast. And that includes you in Jacksonville along the St. Johns River. That is flooding as well. So I'm sure we're getting some. This flows northward and then out into the ocean. But there are strong easterly winds that are backing up that river and causing these flood warnings to be issued. And these purple ones here are actually coastal flood warnings. We have those coastal flood warnings in effect because the wind has been persistent in driving water from the east to the west onto the beaches. And also, when this low pressure system forms, we are going to have flooding that you haven't seen in at least a couple of years, particularly in Beaufort. We could see tides rise, water levels rise up to 8.2 to 8.5 feet up towards Charleston in South Carolina. We're going to see some tidal rises there as well that are going to cause significant flooding, and we should see many, many roads in Charleston inundated by salt water because of this coastal storm that's going to be developing. And you can see all these advisories going on right here. There's a coastal flood watch. There's a rip current statement. There's lake wind advisory from the cold front that moved through, and also gale warnings in effect offshore, and also coastal flood warnings. I'm going to break this down in a couple of maps here in just a second, but you also have high surf advisories, coastal flood advisories. So in Charleston, it's going to be quite nasty as this system wraps up and winds build in from the east, and lots of rain falls as well. So pay attention to the local National Weather Service office there in South Carolina. You have a great team of broadcast meteorologists there as well up in Myrtle Beach, where we have a lot of coastal flood advisories going on here. Myrtle Beach, this particular one is a beach hazard statement. High winds that are going to be happening. Coastal flood watch in effect in South Carolina, and a gale warning as well. So we're talking about winds up to 50 miles per hour in Myrtle Beach. I've cleared out some of the advisories. This is a coastal flood watch in Myrtle Beach. And what does that mean? It basically means that you're going to have causeways to and from local beaches may experience moderate coastal flooding and become impassable. Low-lying roads and locations along the intercoastal waterway and adjacent tidal creeks will observe moderate coastal flooding. Some roadways and structures adjacent to ocean swashes may also be impacted. Check with your local officials or the latest information regarding coastal flood impacts and closures. Longshore currents can sweep swimmers and surfers into rip currents, piers, jetties, and other hazards. Stay out of the water across all of South Carolina. Just stay out of the water. As we move a little bit further north, what I have turned on here, all the beach and coastal advisories and hazards that are on right now. Look at this in parts of southern North Carolina. This includes Oak Island. This includes down towards Jacksonville, also down towards Wilmington. Beach hazard statements, and that is that there's a coastal flood advisory as well for up to 1 to 2 feet of inundation above ground. This is until 8 o'clock in the morning, Monday. So it's in effect now. It expires on Monday. It may even be extended after that a little bit. So we could have 1 to 2 feet of inundation above ground level in low-lying areas near shorelines and tidal waterways, resulting in a low threat of property damage. Some roads and some low-lying property, including parking lots, parks, lawns, and homes adjacent to the waterfront, will experience shallow flooding. Rip currents can also develop, and they could sweep swimmers out to sea. And please do not do any swimming. All along the Outer Banks, we have lots of advisories here. Coastal flood watch, we're talking a coastal flood of 1 to 3 feet of inundation above ground level. And for coastal flood watches down in this area, 2 to 4 feet of inundation above ground level is possible. We could see waves of 8 to 14 feet coming into Hatteras Island, coming into the Outer Banks here, into Buxton, where we've seen so many videos of those homes falling into the ocean, giving way. Homeowners are just heartbroken about this. Some of the beaches have receded over 100 feet just this summer because of the incredible wave action and all of the coastal storms that we've seen coming up here. Now I'm going to go right up the coast here, just talking about Virginia Beach. It's also the area of Hampton Roads, the world's largest naval base. There is a storm watch, means northeast winds 30 to 40 knots with gusts up to 50 knots and seas 11 to 16 feet possible. That is here. Coastal waters from Paramore Island to Cape Charles Light, Virginia, out 20 miles, and coastal waters from Cape Charles Light to Virginia, North Carolina border. We're talking very rough seas, and this is in effect the storm watch from Saturday evening through Monday morning. Matter of fact, if I turn all these off and just the high wind watches, this is where we're talking about high winds impacting the coastline. And how high are winds? Look at this. 30 to 40 mile per hour winds with gusts up to 60 miles per hour are possible. So if you live from Long Island here down to Delaware and even coastal Maryland, Ocean City, down to Virginia Beach, move anything that could blow around your yard off the yard. Bring it inside, because we could have wind gusts to 50 to 60 miles per hour here and even up into Ocean City, Maryland. That's where this is, just below the Delaware Fenwick Island line here. Wind gusts to 60 miles per hour. Now I'll turn off the wind advisories and I'm going to turn on the coastal flood watch. This is where coastal flood watches extend, and it includes Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, Cape Cod. Look at this, Boston, Massachusetts, Eastern Shore, including Boston and Gloucester, for strong winds and seas. Look at this, tidal waterways, that's up to 1/2 foot inundation above ground level near shorelines and tidalways. That's going to impact coastal erosion. It's going to, on east-facing beaches, roads may remain impassable. Low-lying areas and roads may experience pockets of shallow flooding, less than a foot deep. And this is in effect from Sunday morning through late Monday night up here in Massachusetts. In Rhode Island, we're talking about Sunday morning through late Monday night, where we could see 1/2 foot of inundation above ground level. This is a coastal flood watch here. And let's talk about Long Island. Out here on Long Island, 1 to 2 feet of inundation possible because of this nor'easter that's developing. Let's go right down into New York and in Brooklyn here. We're talking about 1 to 2 feet of inundation above ground level possible in vulnerable areas. So this coastal storm could bring moderate or greater coastal flooding beginning as early as Sunday. So we're talking right down here in New York. Here's Staten Island. 1 to 2 feet of inundation above ground level possible in vulnerable areas near the waterfront. Connecticut, southern New Haven, southern Middlesex, and southern New London counties. In New Jersey, Hudson, eastern Essex, eastern Union counties. In New York, southern Westchester, New York, Manhattan, Bronx, Richmond, which is Staten Island, Kings and Brooklyn, northwest Suffolk, northeast Suffolk, northwest Suffolk, and southeast Suffolk, northern Queens, northern Nassau, and southern Queens counties. Be prepared for coastal inundation with this storm. It's going to be nasty. Winds could gust 40 to 50 miles per hour, driving a lot of wind into this area. All of coastal New Jersey as well is under this coastal flood watch. Okay, this is a little bit closer with this low pressure system just over the Outer Banks, the northern Outer Banks here, probably around Corolla and Virginia Beach. This is a very high concentration of rainfall, very heavy rainfall. Some areas could see anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of rain. That could extend into the Washington, Baltimore area, perhaps an inch, maybe 2 inches of rain in some heavy showers or so. And then as this low moves up the coast, you'll see that it kind of hangs around. Look at this. We're now into Monday morning. Now we're into Monday afternoon. And that high pressure system is fighting it off, trying to throw a lot of dry air into the system. And it does try to dissipate the low, but you can see the precipitation and winds really do continue up into southern New England, even though the main low pressure system kind of gets drawn out to sea. And we're now talking Tuesday morning. So that's when everything should really ease up and pull away. I want to talk about the West real quick too, because we have Tropical Storm Priscilla, which is really funneling a lot of moisture. You can see this from the clouds, funneling moisture right into Arizona and New Mexico. And there are flood watches in effect here. As a matter of fact, Priscilla, the title from the National Hurricane Center for the 5 p.m. advisory, significant risk of flash flooding across the southwest United States through the weekend. This is where Priscilla is right now. 45-mile-per-hour winds at 24.4 north, 114.9 west. That's 165 miles west of Cabo San Lazaro. Sorry, this is Cabo San Lucas. Cabo San Lazaro is right in here. And so this system is moving to the north-northwest at 8 miles per hour, but it's going to enter this cold water. That means it's going to kill it. It's only going to kill the tropical characteristics, not the moisture. The moisture is going to funnel up in this area in the southwest parts of the U.S., and that's going to create a flood potential, and we could see flood warnings issued very quickly as these rain showers hit. Some of them will be heavy. Now let's take a look at the quick forecast for Priscilla. It's only a tropical storm right now. It's going to weaken to a depression, and that really doesn't matter. That's just about the tropical storm, tropical depression winds. The moisture, as I mentioned, is going to continue. This is Tropical Storm Raymond. A tropical storm warning's been issued for southwestern Mexico. Winds of 45 miles per hour, located at 16.5 north, 101.7 west. Look at that area of moisture. It's a very broad circulation. A lot of tropical moisture in this one. And guess what? It is following the same path right up against this one as well. So Priscilla is going to turn into a depression. Look at this little circulation right in here. That's Octave. Octave is really just nothing but a low-level swirl right now. It's going to get absorbed into Tropical Storm Raymond. And Raymond is likely not going to reach a very high from an intensity standpoint, remain a tropical storm, but expected to follow the path of Priscilla, and the moisture will follow the path as well. That's why we have these flood watches in effect throughout Arizona, southwestern Colorado, also in Utah. Here's a severe thunderstorm warning right now. So likely to be a flash flood warning issued after this. Also in Southern California and parts of Nevada, we have flood watches in effect because of this moisture that is streaming to the north. Here again is Priscilla, expected to die right here, but the moisture is going to continue up. And look at that, right on its heels. This is the remnants of Raymond that are forecast to come up this way. So pay very close attention in the southwest. We also have small craft advisories, and we also have other advisories in California, gale watches in effect because of the pressure gradients going on between this dying tropical system. But this is a significant threat of flash flooding. If you have any plans to go outside and hike, make sure you have the no-weather radio with you, your phone with the alerts turned on. You stay connected where any heavy rain is falling. It's going to be very risky over this weekend to do any hiking because it could rain 10 miles away, you could be sunny, and that flash flood could come right through the gulches. You do not want to be hiking with this kind of risk going on. So that's it for this update. Lots to talk about today. I'm Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and Geo Collaborate. We'll be back tomorrow with another update. In the meantime, please watch out for yourself and watch out for your neighbors. They really do appreciate it more than you think. Have yourself a good evening.